All right, so you ready to dive back in? This time we're going full-on Burning Crusade, see what's shaking on the private server scene. And guys, we got patch notes, yeah, but also hold on to your hats, some serious forum drama this week.
Oh, is that what we're calling it these days? Drama? I mean, sure, I'm always up for a good server
Oh,
scandal.
this one's a doozy. But first, let's hit those patch notes. You ready for this? They're actually testing dual spec.
Dual spec, finally. About time.
I know, right? It's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
No more, like, agonizing over respecting for that one PvP night. And speaking of PvP, Season 2 rewards just dropped.
Let me guess. That ridiculously awesome Nether Drake mount is one of them.
You know it. It's even more impressive in person or, well, in-game.
I can only imagine.
But yeah, they also snuck in some important stuff. That bank bug that kept crashing everyone, gone, kaput.
Oh, thank goodness. That was getting ridiculous.
Right. And Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, those raid resets are back to normal. Oh, and Ashes of LF farmers. It threw you guys a bone, made those grinds a little less painful.
Nice. Always got to look out for those long-suffering farmers.
Now for the main event, remember forums, like the actual forum part of these server communities.
Ah, yes. The digital battlegrounds where reputations are made and broken.
Exactly. So picture this. You're scrolling through and bam, this post hits you like a Murloc shaman's chain lightning.
Okay, you've got my attention. I'm invested. Hit me.
This player calls himself Tony, right? He is fuming, like actually seeing red about this guild, Henning and fans. Claims they completely torpedoed his dungeon run.
Ooh, dungeon drama. Always a classic. What'd they do? Pull aggro on the entire instance.
Worse, according to Tony, they were more interested in spamming their Twitch chat than actually, playing the game.
Ouch. That's rough.
And get this, it gets worse. This wasn't just any dungeon run. This was CM's.
Ah, CM's challenge modes. Now we're talking serious business.
Yeah, so we're talking about like next level coordination, knowing every single boss mechanic, and these guys are allegedly more concerned with their Twitch chat.
I can see why Tony's upset. CMs are tough enough without having half your group checked out. It's like, imagine trying to perform brain surgery while someone's live streaming it and taking questions from the chat. Not exactly ideal conditions for success.
Right. And Tony goes on this whole rant, right? Yelling, no communication, zero leadership. I mean, it sounds messy.
Yeah, and this is where things get tricky in online spaces, right? We've all been there. The frustration, the anonymity, it can bring out the worst in people.
And, of course, this being the internet and all, someone from the guild decides to clap back. Awards, their words, not mine.
Oh boy, here we go. Lay it on me.
And Awards does not disappoint. They basically said, hold up, Tony. We knew exactly what we were doing on Vash.
Vash, oof, that's a tough fight. Even with a coordinated group, one little mistake and it's Wipe City. So Awards is basically saying Tony was the weak link.
Pretty much. Claims Tony was the one who didn't understand the mechanics.
See, this is classic online conflict. The he said, she said, amplified by the fact that everyone's probably got a touch of confirmation bias going on. They're filtering the entire experience through their own perspectives. Who knows what really went down in that instance?
A true internet mystery.
And good luck getting to the bottom of it. With these kinds of things, it's almost impossible to tell who's the bad guy because, honestly, there often isn't one. Just a bunch of miscommunication and hurt feelings.
And this is where it gets even juicier, because the guild leader, Loadeds, decides to step in.
Oh, the plot thickens. What's the guild leader's take on all this?
Well, surprisingly, he's actually pretty diplomatic. Apologizes to Tony for the bad experience. Talks about how his guild values, like respect and open-mindedness.
Not roof. Damage control. Trying to salvage a guild's reputation a bit.
Totally. But then Loadeds drops this little nugget, says his guild mostly sticks to running content together, rarely does pug runs.
Pug runs, meaning...
Pickup groups. Like with random players.
There it is. The age-old tension between pugs and guild runs. It's almost like different cultures within the game, you know?
Different expectations, for sure.
Right. Guilds, they develop their own rhythm, their own way of communicating, inside jokes, shorthand call-outs, stuff that might not translate to a random player who joins in.
Totally. And speaking of random players, just as this whole thing is dying down, another player, Gary's, pops in with this gem. I also sucks.
Hello, Net. Never change. You gotta love it.
Right. Like, where did that even come from?
Classic case of the online disinhibition effect. People feel way more comfortable saying whatever pops into their heads when they're behind a screen. Like, the consequences just feel different in the digital world.
So true. But yeah, it's interesting, right? You have these patch notes, all these objective changes to the game. But then you have this subjective, chaotic world of the players where a bad dungeon run can spiral into, like, a full-blown forum war.
It's the human element, right?
Yeah.
And it's something we see playing out again and again, not just in games, but online in general.
Exactly. And it makes you think, right, next time you see some passionate forum post, maybe take a step back. Look beyond the angry words. Is there some unspoken social rule that got broken? Did someone misinterpret a situation because of their own bias? Sometimes the real challenge isn't mastering raid mechanics. It's understanding the people you're playing with. Anyway, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us as always. Until next time, try not to start any forum wars out there.